congressman from Rhode Island, also a member of the Judiciary Committee. Congressman, thank you for joining. You've heard from Speaker Pelosi and Senator Schumer putting the joint statement. They want full transparency. They want the full report public. Obviously, there are some legal issues that go with it, grand jury testimony, things like that. What is a reasonable amount of time, in your view, for the Attorney General to deal with those issues before giving you as much as he can give you?
Well, I think the Speaker and the leader are exactly right. The American people want this report. This report belongs to the American people, and we should remember this was begun, this investigation, because of an attack on our democracy and a direction to investigate whether or not there was conspiracy between the Trump campaign and a foreign adversary. We all have a stake in protecting our democracy. This report needs to be released. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that it is. Mr. Barr should quickly do a review of it and release it immediately. The American people need to have confidence not only in the findings, but in the way that this conclusion is handled. And, where certainly Mr. Barr's statement sounds like he's going to tell us who's been indicted and who hasn't. That's interesting, but incomplete. We need to understand what facts they found, what evidence they collected. All of that supporting documentation needs to be released so the American people can fully understand what happened here and so that Congress can take whatever necessary action or whatever action is appropriate.
Do you want to see the special counsel in front of you? Do you think Robert Mueller should be the one to verbally tell you about his findings?
I think it would be very useful to the American people if Mr. Mueller came before the committee and walked through the report and gave context to the factual findings that he made and the evidence he collected. Obviously, that would be limited by to protecting sources and methods and things that was classified. But I think he can tell the story of what he discovered in this very exhaustive investigation of 2 years, which led to many indictments, many convictions. The American people have a right to know exactly what happened, what the Russians did, who helped them, who tried to obstruct justice. And I think walking through the report and sharing that with the American people would be incredibly valuable.
I'm well aware you guys can walk and chew gum at the same time, or at least Congress will claim they can walk and chew gum at the same time. Actually, I will let the American public determine whether you guys can actually do that. But let me ask you this. Now that you have the Mueller report, should your focus be on the Mueller report, or should you also be doing all these other things? And politically, do you at all worry about creating more fog for the American public that they actually stop paying attention to what you're doing?
No, look, we have a responsibility to do both things. I think we've proven in the majority that we can. We passed H.R. 1, transformative legislation to reform our democracy, to raise ethical standards and reduce the influence of money in our political system. We've begun hearings on legislation to drive down prescription drug prices. We passed universal background checks. We are working on an infrastructure bill. So, look, we've proven we're getting the work done for the American people. But at the same time, they elected us to hold this administration accountable, to do oversight, to be sure that we're performing our constitutional responsibility.
Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.